Colts Nation, if helmets or helmet accessories interest you, make sure to go to greengridiron.com and use code INDSYN at checkout to get the discount code with it. Whether it's mini helmets, full-size helmets, visors, clips, whatever it may be, different face masks, different variations of helmets, alternate helmets, whatever the case, you can get it at Green Gridiron. And again, that's code INDSYN at checkout for the discount. Thanks for stopping by for another video, and now let's get into it. What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about the pregame preview, right? Looking at the Jaguars game, final game of the year. I know probably won't be a whole lot of people watching this one, but this is going to be the last game of the 2024 season. What's going to happen? And now, in my estimation, I'm recording this on Wednesday night, right? I have a busy week coming up. Don't know if I'll have time to record this. Definitely won't have time to record it on Friday. So wanted to go ahead, just record this on what I think is going to happen. Looking at the injury report for both teams, seems pretty clean, pretty clear cut both ways. I think we're going to be without Anthony Richardson. I think shutting him down. He has the back spasms, was crawling around his house last week. Just if he's got back issues, got a disc issue, obviously you keep him out. You need him to get healthy as soon as possible so that he can put in the offseason work as soon as possible and really start to become better and get and develop as a quarterback on the field. That's what we really need to have happen. So I think you shut him down. You roll with Joe Flacco. I think there's even a possibility in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if we went with Sam Ehlinger in this game, with Joe possibly even deferring to Sam, with Sam being here for a few years, Sam going to be a free agent. There's going to be a lot of changes, one of which probably going to be Sam. So I would just assume that at the end of the day, we could end up seeing Sam. And whether it's Flacco or whether it's Sam, at the end of the day, I really think this game is more about our defense. When Anthony's not playing, I think it's more about the defense, because I think either way, both those guys on offense liable to turn the ball over 2 times. I think both those guys, liable to get a couple touchdowns. Especially against the Jaguars, who were trash. Flacco played the Jaguars earlier in the season, put up a bunch of points, but our defense let up a bunch of points, which is kind of what I expect to happen again. With what the defense has done, I think the defense, they could come out. We could see defense come out, play an energized game against a bad Jaguars team. But at the end of the day, even with Mac Jones throwing the ball, like, they have Brian Thomas Jr., somebody that me and I know a lot of people that have been subscribed to this channel, and were subscribed to this channel throughout the offseason when we talked about Brian Thomas Jr. Like, man, somebody that I thought was immensely talented, somebody that I really wanted the Colts to consider drafting. And of course, we don't end up drafting him, but he's going to be really good for a long time. He's shown that this year, had a really, really good rookie year. So Brian Thomas Jr. poses a threat, and I don't know if we're going to be able to stop him. I think, he had a big game against us earlier in the season. Malik Neighbor just had a big game against us. Like, it's just inevitable. He's going to get the big catch at some point, get the play downfield. Nico Collins always does it to us, and on this defense, it's just what happens. But I do hope to see Jonathan Taylor have a nice game. Want to see him close out the season in a big way. Just get a lot of rushing yards, right? Have both teams put up a lot of points. Kind of what we've seen each of the last few weeks, where the defense is terrible and it's the reason we lose the game. But at the end of the day, both teams put up a lot of points. Just look for an exciting game. Going to be a little bit annoying watching your own team lose, but that's just what I expect to happen. To be completely honest, that's what I expect to happen. A little bit of hoping that happens. Again, you shut Anthony Richardson down. That's kind of what you're looking at. And when you look at the current draft position and the other teams that we have to worry about, really, there's not a whole lot that can happen in terms of draft position, but it is something to think about when you look at the 4 teams at the top that have 3 wins on the year. Then you have 5 teams, including Jacksonville, that have 4 wins on the year. You could screw Jacksonville if they win and get the 5 wins, because they have 4 other teams right there that, in my opinion, I could see all of them losing in the last week, and then Jacksonville all of a sudden goes from a top 5 pick down to possibly the 10th pick, depending on a tiebreaker with New Orleans and whether or not they win. I think New Orleans probably going to lose in Week 18, but we'll see what happens there. But for us, San Francisco is at 6 wins. I don't know if this one really matters either. Like, even if San Francisco is able to beat Arizona and we lose, we'll both be at 7 wins. I don't know what the tiebreaker is in that instance, but just to note, possible top at very most, we would be the 11th draft pick. So in 2025, that's what we can expect. At the very most, it's going to be the 11th pick of the draft. Now, on the good side of that, on the worst that we could possibly do here, right? If we get to 8 wins, we finish 8 and 9. You look at some of the other teams in here, and I do think some of these teams will end up winning. But you have the Colts here at 7 wins, and behind them you have Dallas at 7 wins, Arizona at 7 wins, Miami at 8 wins, Cincinnati at 8 wins, Atlanta at 8 wins, Seattle at 9 wins, which is where it separates. So at the very bottom, it would be 17th. So 11th to 17th, that's where we can expect to draft, and again, we can hurt the Jaguars draft position in the process if they end up winning. So you shut Anthony Richardson down, get a high scoring game because our defense is trash. Their defense is trash. Last game of the season, just an exciting affair, but overall, Colts lose in Lucas Oil. That's my prediction. What's the score? Who cares? The season's over. But we will be live for the game. And of course, I'd like to see you guys there. Come hang out for a little while. That'd be great. But whatever the case may be, we're going to have a lot of content throughout this off season. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications on because we're going to have a bunch of content. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.